Hey, this is Notser, and today we're going to be covering Vampire 2. This is the Tier 10 Commonwealth Destroyer. That is a special ship available in the Research Bureau section of the Armory. It costs 55,000 Research Bureau points, and that's a lot. But you're getting a pretty quality ship here. So I'm going to talk about this awesome game and my build and share my impressions on it. Sorry I didn't cover this when it was releasing. I had obviously real life stuff going on, and you guys who have followed the channel, you know. Anyway, the build is main armament protection, steering and propulsion, improved protection, improved main gun accuracy, faster rudder shift, concealment, improved main gun reload. For the commander, incoming fire alert, last stand, survivability expert, concealment, radio location, adrenaline rush, preventative maintenance, and also we take the improved main battery and AA damage output or rate of fire. It's my go-to gun build, honestly, and it is going to work really well in this game, so just, enjoy. Now, what are the differences and what are the similarities that the Vampire has to other Tier 10s? Well, the most notable is the daring. It is a daring class for Australia, and I've actually selected the Australian naval flag at the time, and it's on display on the ship, and that's one of the options that you can do if you'd like to do it instead of using the generic Commonwealth flag, that blue with the globe or whatever. I prefer to have the more historically accurate flag being flown, with obvious exceptions because I stream, but it's nice that that's an option. Just want to make sure you guys are aware. Anyway, this is a daring class DD, and obviously the daring has 360 gun turrets, it has 6 113s, and it has normally 2 torpedo launchers, whereas the Vampire 2 only has 1, but that 1 torpedo launcher that it has goes 12 kilometers instead of 10.5. So there are pluses and minuses to this design versus the daring, and I appreciate that. It has the same single launch option that British DDs and Commonwealth DDs get to benefit from, and I can't wait for the full Commonwealth DD line with the creeping smoke. That is the other difference. The creeping smoke is familiar if you have the Hyda, and it's really awesome. It's difficult to torpedo creeping smoke. You can dip in and out of your smoke and do some sort of quick spotting and then go back into your smoke and fire again, and overwhelming firepower and keeping a consistent, accurate shot. That Elbing doesn't get to survive this time. Now, as I move to this area, my torpedoes are back up. Just because I only have 1 launcher doesn't mean that the torpedoes will never be usable, and I really appreciate that, and I love the single launch nature with a single launcher. It gives you a lot of strategic options that would not normally be available if you merely only had narrow and wide. So I appreciate that as well. It's another great feature. And on top of all this that we've discussed, it also has a longer range hydro than what the British DD Daring would normally get. There are pluses and minuses to that. The duration is of course shorter because of that, but you can be a little bit more aggressive, sort of like Z52 or Z or Z52. You can take your 52, obviously go to a base, you have 6 kilometer hydro, and you have smoke. So you can dominate that capture and confirm. And it also gives you torpedo warning, obviously. Well, the Vampire can kind of do the same thing because it has creeping smoke and a 5 kilometer range hydro. So very usable as pretty much the same cap contester that you would get on the Z52, but you get other traits that are better. Obviously, high explosive performance, really stout with the Brits, same with the Commonwealth, and you can see I've already done a pretty good job here, and I love taking advantage of islands, because islands generally take advantage of me so from time to time, obviously, getting in my way when we slam into them. But the Brits, just like the Americans, their gun velocity is slower, and it allows them to place themselves in an area where they can fire on their enemy, but their enemy cannot return fire unless they're at specific ranges. So in this instance, obviously I'm going to engage the Montana, hoping that I can have fires burning on him, just as a friendly already has a fire burning, keeping in mind that I don't want to be in line of sight of other ships that may detect me for him. So it's not necessarily bad that you only have 3 smoke chargers versus the, I don't know, 5 or 6 that the Daring class gets for the British fleet. Obviously, you don't have access to a heal. That is one other thing. But you do get speed boost. So, all in all, I think that the Vampire 2 is a really nice addition to the game. And it adds enough variety, but there's enough similarities here that I personally feel drawn to it and excited to play it. Even though I'm excited to play the Daring 2. Just gives me more options to play in the game. And I'm really happy with my Research Bureau purchase. Now, there is currently a Druid as well that's available. That's a little bit more singular in its playstyle, and I need to cover it. Unfortunately, with real life, I didn't get a chance to. So we will, of course, grab that up and cover that in a video in the near future. But as it stands right now, we're just picking on a Thunderer, which obviously Thunderers pick on a lot of people, so... Here, I'm going to play the world's smallest violin for this guy as he can't avoid this free damage. Just as the Brits, the AP performance is improved, of course, but your HE is very, very easy to light on the fire, so it's burning a Roman candle, and that is obviously a big advantage of the high explosive nature that the 113s have. So, you know, whenever you feel like you can pretty much use the ammo that's more appropriate for the situation. Right now, obviously, he's more angled, so I'm just shooting a superstructure for free. I always like doing free damage. We do stick our neck out just a little bit too much to make sure that we get the kill and not someone else. And we do set him on fire. Someone tries to return fire, but we move back safely. Other things that are very British, it has the built-in acceleration. And that's why I took the faster rudder shift. The faster rudder shift is a bonus to the Daring, and it's a bonus here as well. So you have improved maneuvering and acceleration all in one package. Another great trait of British DDs. I'm really a British DD fanboy. They are one of the best DD lines in the game, and this further solidifies it. I can't wait for the Commonwealth, and all the traits that are on the Vampire 2, I hope that they will bring over to the main line, because it's a real treat to play. Now, in this game, I figured, you know, we can move forward a little bit. There's a Petro. He's going to use his short duration radar, and I'm trying to punish his broadside with AP. But he recognizes the threat, and he actually ducks into cover, which unfortunately is leaving us in the open with multiple battleships that could fire on our position. But I'm not going to panic. There's no reason to try and do something rash. I have the improved acceleration and maneuverability. And man, 2 shells make direct contact with us, but the rest miss. But wait out the radar. This enemy was safely away. I held my fire because obviously there was no Petro to actually shoot at once he ducked into cover. So I was past the 20 seconds. Everything bloomed back down and everything's cool. Now my team, we've lost a couple high value targets. That's unfortunate because obviously we don't want to do that. So I'm going to spread the love of my torpedoes, making sure to use every single one, because if you don't, it won't start reloading. Make sure you do that. If, for whatever reason, you can't send another, which there's literally no reason to send torpedoes now. Friendly fire has been basically turned off to them. You can press F whenever you have the launcher selected, and it will refresh the reload and start it all. So that's a tip for anyone who's not aware that you can do that. Obviously, it's only relevant for the Brits and the Commonwealth, but I play them enough, I should know. Now, we are under radar, and while we are under radar, I wanted to do some damage to this Thunderer, and thankfully the radar's done, and the Thunderer just barely misses us. But we do have, of course, our creeping smoke. So I can actively maneuver, but my smoke will eventually catch up to me. Another great feature of the vampire over the daring, honestly. And I make full use of this as frequently as I can. Now, we did get a couple more torpedo hits, and we've already racked up a ridiculous amount of damage. I've played the daring once or twice, clearly. This is my second game in the Vampire 2, and the creeping smoke is like second nature. And, ooh, hello there, Mr. Holland. It's great. You can move in and out of areas, and because the smoke lasts for such a long time, unlike maybe the Italians, you can, as long as you play within the smoke's slow dispersal, you can play very long, sort of bait players into trying things. And our Hydro safely going to detect that. Oh, more ships for us to shoot. Our torpedoes are back up. You would think, oh yeah, Notsers do it great. My team is not. My team is not interested in playing this game, it seems. Now, I did rush into this sort of corner, which I'm hydroing the Petro and the Ohio. The Thunderer is spotted, I believe, by myself. So I do confirm that, and I also, oh yeah, I'm actually in range of that guy too. So a double whammy of fail here to be reacquired. Not that the enemy is stupid. They know I'm here. It's just I don't want them to return fire. And honestly, if the Petro has direct information, he's more likely to rush me. So I wanted to keep my torpedoes in my back pocket so that this guy doesn't feel safe to do this. So I figure, you know what? He's using radar. That is a good signal that he wants to change the game. And I am not interested in giving up this position. But I also am very aware that it could be a bait. If I do end up using my torpedoes, I'm done. So I've got to be very cautious, and he uses his Hydro. You know, I wonder if players are doing something like activating radar first and then activating Hydro and hiding it behind the radar icon. It would be kind of nice of Wargaming to show every single debuff that's actively being applied to you and sort of having it stack out. It's just something that it kind of feels weird. There's obviously information going on, but I don't see it because the icons are overlaid on the same position. So, you know, I was just thinking about that randomly in this one moment. It's like, you know, it would be nice if I could see all of them at the same time. Anyway, I decided, you know, let's give some distance. I don't want Hydro to just keep me perpetually spotted. And I decided to move away. Enemy Shimakaze is very far forward, but I don't have a lot of health anymore, so I have to be very cautious with how I approach this problem. So I'm going to send a couple torpedoes in the direction of what this Montana may or may not do, and I'm going to fire on his position. He's the only ship that's in range of me now that I can actually fire on. The entire enemy team is stacked up in the between the island area, and I have multiple teammates shooting in that corridor, so they are aware of what's happening. Now, as I'm firing on the Montana, I'm planning an assault on the Shima with my creeping smoke all at the same time. Just not saying it, of course, but that's the plan, is to bait him into a position where he's at a disadvantage and then take advantage of him. Looks like the Montana, he gained enough speed that he has safely passed my torpedoes, which is obviously unfortunate for me, but it does mean that I just need to try and farm some more. Now, the Shimakaze doesn't want me to kill him. He's paused, he actually changed directions, and he's using an island to sort of block his position. Unfortunately, my smoke is done, so I can no longer fire on the battleship without risking my life. But thankfully, the Shimakaze, he pauses. And my Smolensk friend, he takes him out. So I'm not actually spotted in that moment, because if I was, most likely the Montana would have fired on me and the Shima as well. And who knows what else could have a shot on that position. So I was very thankful that the Shima second-guessed it because he was still under Hydro. And either way, he died because we had great positioning by our teammates. So I no longer have my creeping smoke. I've used the last charge. You might ask, Notser, why don't you ever use Superintendent? The reason I don't use Superintendent is I like to rush through games, and Superintendent is a late game skill. Sometimes, yes, it's obviously, in this moment, it would be very beneficial. But most of the time, I don't ever get to this moment. So I like to try and solve problems in other ways if I can. And in this way, I'm trying to rely on my teammates to do some spotting. And I'm also trying to rely on distance from the Montana to keep me safe. There's a couple more ships in this position, and Thunder is trying to escape. I'm, at this exact moment, trying. Petro, ha ha ha. Now, if you didn't catch it, I didn't see the Petro for a while. I expected him to be doing something. He was never spotted when the other ship, the Ohio, was moving. So I inferred that the Petro might be trying to exit out. So I sent torpedoes expecting that. And he sailed right into it. And it couldn't have worked out better. The enemy Ohio is rotating around. I am trying to move through this island area. Maybe we will acquire the Thunderer as he's ducking behind. I'm definitely the one spotting him there. I try and fire in between the little island elevation changes, just hoping to get a shell hit. If I can get a shell hit, I can just blindly fire and look for the explosion, and we get Kraken unleashed. Another kill on a target that we didn't see at all, and use the mini-map. The little crosshair that they have on the mini-map. You can draw the line through the last known position with the, obviously, assumption. And oh, here comes the Ohio. Ohio wants to take a shot, takes the shot. I send the last of my torpedoes. He knocks us out, unfortunately. But we did get Kraken unleashed. High caliber and Confederate in our second game. And love it, love it. Not where we aimed it at all, but of course, because of that little issue that was introduced in 10.5, the torpedo's momentum pulled it into the island. I don't know if it's a bug, if it's intended, if it's related to submarines. I'm hoping that we can get a torpedo hit here. But you know what? Everything worked out just fine. And oh yeah, that's Hermione. Hermione's purr. She's a beautiful girl. She joins us on stream. If you'd ever want to check out my stream, it's twitch.tv/Notser. I play the game a lot, and I try and inform you guys, showcase different matches, different playstyles, different tiers, everything. And I try and do it in a way that is enjoyable and relaxing. I'm not one to cause drama or highlight drama, because quite honestly, my life is drama with so much stressful events. So I'm trying to use ships as an escape. I understand that there are definitely issues with the game, and there have been, but I am not one to try and highlight that. So I hope you guys can understand that. I've seen criticism that I'm too nice or I'm a shill. I definitely critique what wargaming does. I really want to emphasize playing a game and having fun with it and teaching over other things that can distract from that. And especially for me, I need that for my health. So I hope you guys can understand. I really just want to enjoy myself, and I want to enjoy having you guys along for the ride. So teammates are doing a great job. We did a fantastic job for our team. They finally were able to get some kills. Ooh, Ohio just barely missed that torpedo. But that's the game, guys. And yes, the Vampire, very enjoyable to play. Absolutely fantastic. Love the Vampire. 254,000 damage done. Confederate, Kraken, high caliber, 36 base XP. God, I gotta get some glasses. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, please like it. If you dislike, dislike. You can always subscribe to my channel. We do World of Warship content. My North American recruit invite is on the screen. You can always take advantage of that. I stream at twitch.tv/Notser, 62,000 torpedo damage as well. Nice. Thanks again, and have a wonderful day.